This video is going to begin a section on customizing your Unity user interface. And this is something that I think is really important for you. The deeper you get into Unity is to start really getting used to your panels and where you like to have them put and what works best for you. And maybe not even works best for you all the time. Maybe just what works best for you given a specific operation.
Right. You're not limited to having only one UI layout. Let's say you're in the middle of prototyping and your level trying to get a feel for it. You could have a layout that's designed around just doing that. If you're getting into, say, animation of things, you could have a layout that's geared towards animation.
That's right. And as you get deeper and deeper into using Unity, hopefully you'll start to get the hang of each one of these panels and not have any problem with seeing them moved around to other locations. Like, for instance, it's entirely possible that as we get into deeper videos, such as things like over developing character controllers, or maybe even all the way up to our MMO class, which is coming up for member sponsors on 3D Buzz, you will see different layouts that we'll be using that just makes our Unity use experience a lot easier for us. So I'd like you at some point to go ahead and start playing with your interface, find something that works for you, and get comfortable enough with each one of these different aspects of the UI that when they move around, you don't think anything of it.
Right. Then on the flip side, with layouts, you don't have to have a different layout for every single thing you do.
No, you don't. You can have one that works for most things and then maybe just a couple of special ones here and there. But in this video, I'd like to focus on docking and undocking aspects of your user interface. Anything you see on the Unity user interface that has these tabs, such as the scene viewport, and here's the game view, you see the inspector has a tab, the project view, and the hierarchy view, all of these can be undocked from their current locations, moved around, and then redocked in other locations. Here's a quick example. I'm going to take my project view down here in the bottom, pretty much the center of my UI. I'm going to click on the tab and just drag it out here into the middle of my viewport. And you can see it looks like it did kind of get ripped off as soon as I let go of the mouse. It's no longer located down there where it was. In fact, my hierarchy view has stretched out to fill in the remainder of the space, and now we have a floating project window. The cool thing about doing this is if you're using like a multi-monitor setup, you can start dominating your entire visible workspace with various windows and views and get everything out of the way of your viewport if you like. Or if you just don't think you're going to need the project view that much, you could just kind of shrink it down to a tiny little window stuck maybe over here halfway off the screen, if that was useful to you. I don't think I would, but you could. Now, that's just undocking and creating a floating window, but that's not all you're limited to. Of course, you could reposition this. You can close it and maximize it just like you do any other window. We've got a little maximize button if all you want to see is a project window. Again, that'd be pretty handy if you had a separate monitor. You could just grab your project, drag it over, and then that could be your entire screen over there if that's what you wanted. But you have some other functionality as well. If you click and drag back on this tab once again, you go back into this docking mode where we can start dragging to certain locations on the UI and get indicators of where we could redock this window. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag our window kind of down here out of the way just so that we can get a clearer idea of where all these dock positions are going to be. But check this out. I'm clicking on the tab. Notice not the great big dark gray bar in the middle of the window, specifically on the tab that says project. And I can dock to the bottom of the viewport, and if I do that, it locks in down here and kind of merges itself back into the UI. Now we have other locations as well, and you can see them as you drag around. So let's see, let me kind of reposition everything to make it a little easier to see. I'll get this out of the way once more. And we can go to the side of the viewport. We could go to the side of our inspector. We could go to the bottom of the inspector. And again, that's all just by dragging on that tab. And you can use this to create your own favorite type of layout, whatever it is you'd like to do. And if you want to put it back, you can just drag it over here to the right side of the hierarchy view. Now that's not all. If you know for some reason that, and this is just kind of a random example, well actually I don't even have to reach for a random example. What I was about to show is already prevalent. If we've got our scene view active, right behind it we have the game view. We don't have to do that if we don't want to. We could take the game view, rip it off into a floating window if we wanted, or we could dock it to the right-hand side of the scene view. Now we have both of them available at the same time. So if I hit play, we can see the game view, and we can see the scene view at the same time. You can actually see my little first-person controller moving around in there while we play. This can be extremely useful if you're having to update objects and see how things are moving during playback. Now, we're not limited to that, of course. If we want to put things back where they were, we can grab this tab, drag it back over here to where the tabs are, and we can redock it in the same window as another tab. So boom, now it's exactly back the way it was. We can reorder those tabs by dragging the tab over. Now it's the game view on the left and the scene view on the right. We can do other things as well. We could say, all right, take the game view, and I want to dock it down here with the hierarchy view. So now it's just a tab down here. Or maybe what might be more useful would be to put it down here with the project view and stretch that out, under the assumption that while I'm playing the game, I know that I won't necessarily need to see the project view. So I mean, there's all kinds of different ways you can dock and redock these. So that is a quick look at adjusting your user interface by undocking your views, your tabs, redocking them together, putting them onto different tab layouts inside your Unity user interface, and that is going to wrap things up for this video. Thanks a lot.